everybody, and welcome to Elden Dogs, your favorite podcast about Elden Ring and Forbidden Love and doing what you want to do. And I don't care what you say. Actually, Rellana and Rellana were pretty supportive of each other. Regardless, this is a podcast about love. My name is Sir Ansbach, and I'm here to remind everyone today that Moog was innocent, and we're clearing his name. And if you have any problems with that, you can write me a review.
And I'm Freya. I'm here. My neck totally doesn't hurt from headbanging at the show last night, and I'm totally not hungover. I am 100% good to go.
And who did you see last night, Freya?
Diet Light.
Diet Light.
Diet Light at the rave.
Sounds pretty good.
It was an all-local show at the rave.
I wish there was more music in the lands between, in the lands of shadow. I mean, if it's not for the merchants playing our theme song, there's not a lot happening.
You know, I really miss Kale. I wish he and his people would come over here.
I saw Kale at the Renaissance Fair.
Dude, that'd actually be a really good costume for a Renaissance festival.
Because, yeah, it looks great either way. And some people are like, is that some sort of Sinterklaas? Because he has that red, so he has the look of a Christmas man. Yeah, I also have a hurt neck, but it's because I went to Six Flag Shadow Altus yesterday. And, yeah. And I'm not good with lines. I don't like lines. And I guess the lines are a lot shorter than usual because it was like a company day, and they still fucking sucked. But it only cost me 1,000,000 runes to get runes? Yeah, the runes, right?
Yeah.
It only cost me 1,000,000 runes to get 3 beers, and I'm broke as fuck now. But my neck hurts horribly from the rides.
I went to 2 shows in 2 days, and my neck is like, I understand what Phil Anselmo was going through.
I don't know who that is.
He headbanged so much, he like fucked up his neck real bad, and he had to drink a whole bunch of whiskey on set. He was the lead singer of Pantera.
This sounds horrible.
Yeah, there's a whole behind the music about it. It's actually very sad.
Well,
not as sad as The Lands Between, though.
Needless to say, I'm a little hungover, and my neck hurts. But I'm excited to talk about Elden Ring today. And today, we're going further into the Gravesite Plains. We're going to get out of this area. We're going to climb our way up. Problem is, there's a big castle in front of us. To get towards that castle, though, we're going to have to do the Ellac Greatbridge first. This is crossing the river. It's one of the only ways to get around here. And there's a little opposition crossing, but nothing we can't handle.
It's all peacocking.
What's peacocking?
It's like when you, sometimes it's when you dress really flamboyantly.
Okay.
Or colorfully.
Yeah.
At a party to stand out.
Do you do that?
Occasionally,
yeah.
I'll make sure that, I think there's a difference between peacocking and just looking fly as hell.
Okay.
And I'm usually more in the fly as hell category.
I would concur.
But in this instance, it's kind of all show, all bark, no bite, because the projectiles coming at you are easy to dodge.
Yeah. It's not my first rodeo. I know what you can't catch me.
I went to the Weeping Peninsula once.
Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on me.
This is some weak-ass shit. But I guess if you're a slow little, like, shadow-cursed zombie boy, that would probably slow you down. Not for us. We're going to get across just fine. There's a little camp over here. Fair amount of enemies. It's not too difficult, but you do find your... I believe this is our first perfume bottle. The Fire Spark perfume bottle. It's a new weapon type, the perfume bottle. I can say it again, perfume bottle. It consists of a pair of glass bottles filled with potent mixtures that can deal various types of elemental damage when released into the air. When used in combat, the Tarnished sprays the bottle's contents in a sweeping arc in front of them. They are paired weapons, so when you're wielding them two-handed, puts a bottle in each hand and increases both the attack speed and amount of damage dealt. They can block attacks and perform ripostes for more damage. Have you fucked with perfume bottles at all?
No, not at all. But you can dual wield them.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that there is an Edward 40 hands build of Elden Ring that you can actually do.
See, what I do is I have one Old English, and then I have one Hams, and I clang them like Stone Cold and just shower people.
Dude.
That is a kind of a Stone Cold way. If I had the perfume bottles, I would smack them together and then just shake them up and spray them in the air. Like 2 champagne bottles.
This camp was the first time I died in the game.
So I'm guessing you went straight forward rather than heading left.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, this game. Because everybody talked about how hard it was, and I hadn't died yet.
But did
Maybe
you
the lion killed me once, actually, but I don't think so.
No, you did not go through that whole Ballarat Tower without dying.
Oh, I died due to fall damage.
You did all of Ballarat Tower without dying once?
I think so. Is this the little camp?
Well,
With the demon dog? With the demon dogs and the fire guys?
sure. I mean,
I'm
there's
pretty sure
something
this
there.
is the first time I died. But I
Okay.
might have came here first and then turned around and was like, nah.
I will go ahead and say that's what you did.
I did get quite a bit into the game before I died. Now, I die a lot.
Yeah. I took my one of my other characters out for a run today through Castle Ensis, and they hit very hard, these enemies. Even just a regular guy only takes 3 or 4 hits and they can knock you out pretty quick.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
I thought I was doing good.
Yeah, perfume bottles are cool. You can also, like I was mentioning, you can have 2 different perfume bottles in your hands. So you can have, and they make colors, so you can like make 2 different colors and like mix them together. And your strong attack does cover a pretty good area. I haven't messed around too much with this build. I did briefly mess with a certain build to farm the Golem Fist, which is the rarest drop in the DLC.
Did you get it?
I did. It sucked. It was horrible. It was crystal darts and then a little perfume, but it's cool. If someone wants to do a perfumer build, you can also use the other perfume bottles and mix them all together. It's not my play style, but I have mad respect.
I wonder what that would scale with.
Well, and you can also modify them, I'm pretty sure, too. So you can change what they're scaling with.
Yeah. Could you imagine like a perfumer trying to be stealthy, but you can smell him coming from like a mile away?
It's like that one dude who's wearing way too much cologne.
It's like the guards would just be standing there and they're like, is that Drakkar Noir? What is...
Is that Cool Water by Davidoff? That's what my grandma bought me when I was young. Still use it. It smells good. Yeah. It's a pure fire weapon that scales with dexterity, this one. The crusade was a violent purge, and the perfumers were not called there to heal. Well, I mean, you don't ask the guy with a chainsaw to come to not use a chainsaw.
He could technically heal.
Well,
if you needed an amputation.
Yeah. Just dumping some
Giorgio Armani on the on your wounds.
Yeah, and there's a Fire Knight's cookbook number 2 here as well. And this details the art of wielding fire for the benefits of soldiers setting out to join the crusade, left by the Fire Knights who served Mesmer the Impaler. They love the fire. And there's a spread crossbow down to the right. This is a modified crossbow made by combining 2 crossbows into one, capable of loading multiple bolts and firing them simultaneously, enabling a spread of fire. No infusions. I did mess with this one a little bit today, and I don't like it.
It's some Van Helsing shit, is what it reminds me of. It's like something Val Kilmer. Jeez,
Hugh
come
Jackman?
on, Tyler. Yeah, Hugh Jackman would use in the movie.
Val Kilmer would make a fine Van Helsing. I just don't like the pacing because you have to like load it, and it's got a little spread. I don't know. I didn't particularly love it, but if you're doing a Van Helsing build, you could have it be in one hand, and then I don't know what he uses, some sword or like a club in the other one.
I think he uses a shotgun.
That's cool.
Maybe I watched the wrong Van Helsing.
Now, before we go into Castle Ensis, around the corner, we're going to find our first Forge-style dungeon, the Ruined Forge Lava Intake. What was your thoughts first going into one of these forges, Tyler?
Well, I just got my ass kicked by a low-level, lowly guard. So going into a dungeon, I was like, maybe I'm not high enough level for this, and I haven't had any shadow trees.
Shadow.
I can't say that. Shadow?
Shadow.
Okay. Shadow tree fragments.
But you still say it weird.
I don't know. It's a weird word that doesn't look like it should be pronounced the way that it's... I don't know.
Yes, Saoirse Ronan.
I'm going to call them Sadhu trees.
Sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu tree. Yadu.
No, I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah. I think until I went farming for the Golem Fist, the only one that I killed of the golems was the very first one I encountered. Because they just... I mean, they're made of rock. And I generally am using piercing or slashing damage. I'm not using...
bludgeoning.
I'm not bludgeoning them. And if you get one hit behind them, they're very weak behind. It's their little soft spot. But they're just tanks, and it's not worth the time.
I did take one of my, was it just a club? I think it was. I took just a club and threw some levels on it just to have some bludgeoning damage.
Good thing is they're pretty slow, so you can kind of just run around them.
I still feel the need to kill everything.
I did until you come around the corner and there's a Golemsmith petting a little like lava dude. He's like petting it like a little pet. And I was like, I am officially not okay killing anything in here. Because if that is a dude and that is his pet, we're coming into their house and he sees us kick his cat, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, well, I was a violent tornado, and I just, I'm sorry.
At the amusement park yesterday, we did the bumper cars at the end, and there were some kids that tried to come up behind us, and the dude's like, no, you four are not coming back on here. I was like, what did they do? They did something in those bumper cars. Yes,
for a carny at Six Flags to refuse you entrance, you have to really fuck up.
They did something. Yeah, there's a spirit NPC outside that says, by grace, if I e'er see another rock, I shall find it. Of this I have no doubt. That altar of the forge cannot be far. Yeah.
All right, Brad, objectively, that makes no sense.
Okay.
What is he saying?
He says,
translate for me.
He's like, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
If I ever see another fucking rock, and then there's like a pause. And then he's talking about what he's looking for. I'm going to find it. I know I'm going to find what I'm looking for. The altar of the forge cannot be far.
See, my problem is
it's the way I said it the first time.
It's also that I don't ever pay attention to the ellipses or the punctuation in these.
Yeah.
And every time there is one, it just sounds like a transcript from like a Donald Trump speech where it's just nonsensical sentences smashed together that make no sense.
You even did the accordion hands and you were describing that.
Yes. Smashed together.
Yes.
That's what makes it so hard for me to follow the lore of these games because I have the reading comprehension of a child.
Well, that will make it more tough. You do need reading comprehension and a decent vocabulary. But this one is actually pretty straightforward. It's just a dude who's fucking pissed at seeing so many rocks. But he's looking for something, and he thinks the altar is here somewhere. And the altar, these forges, when you get to the altar, you're going to find a smithing stone, and you're going to find a weapon. That's generally what you find here. What I love about these forges, there's no bosses, which is like a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Which I'm very much into. I don't think every little dungeon needs a boss.
No. Sometimes it's nice just to get through it and not have to replay the last 5 minutes of it 45 times because the burial watchdog is going to stop me.
Luckily, there's no burial watchdogs here, though.
I know, but I still think about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, too.
Be a cool tattoo.
It wouldn't be bad. I agree.
Yeah, it would be a cool tattoo. That just dawned on me.
Where'd you get it?
On my right arm somewhere.
Yeah?
I am going to get an Elden Ring tattoo somewhere, probably.
What are you getting? Not sure yet?
Not sure yet. I was thinking just a big pot.
That's not bad. And then you could have a banner going around it that says America's Tits.
Yeah, there we go.
I think so. The Golem Smiths, similar to the imps and burial watchdogs, they can be aggroed with crystal darts. So they're like, animated stone. Crystal darts are the best way. If there's two of them by each other, I just dart one of them, and then they just fight each other, and I can do whatever I need to in the room. Weak points to back, like I mentioned. They seem to be the progenitors of the Smith script arts, which is the art of throwing weapons and having it return. They also can do it with their fists, some of them. They will pet the living magma, and it breaks my heart. In ancient times, smithing was a divine act, and blacksmiths interpreted the script they perceived in the wrinkles of molten steel to imbue weapons with souls. It's just some heavy metal shit.
That does sound heavy metal.
Yeah.
I can get with that.
A soul with a weapon is a cool concept. Or a weapon with a soul, too.
What is
a soul with a weapon would be scary as well.
Isn't there that game by the makers of Hades where the girl's husband or boyfriend or whatever, his soul is in the sword?
That's also like a character from DC.
That's cool.
That's Katana. Her husband's soul's in a sword. That was her whole character development in Suicide Squad.
Oh my God, don't even remind me of that movie.
Yeah.
Every day I don't think about that movie is a better day.
Yep. There's a Greater Potentate's Cookbook 13 in here if you want to make a hefty volcano pot. I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Yeah. I am tempted to just rename my character from Gerard to Crockpot.
Dude, you know, they should actually make a crock pot that looks like Alexander.
Oh my God, that's a good idea.
Isn't that a good idea? If anyone's listening, you owe me if you use that idea.
Make his hands big enough to where it could be like a cup holder for my high life. So while I'm cooking, I could just like...
Or you can set like one of your cooking utensils in there and holds it up.
He's holding your whisk.
Yeah.
Or your spoon.
I'm going to be honest. I don't set the high life down when I'm cooking.
No, I don't either.
Yep. There is a Smith script dagger in here. This is the new weapon type throwing blade I put down. This is a dumb weapon type because this is the only instance of the throwing blade. Other weapons are throwable or not in their own category. Like the Smith script hammer is just under hammer. The Smith script spear is just under spear. This one, though, I think it's its own type because there's a few different unique ashes and they only apply to this weapon type. This scales with dexterity. Reduced mass enhances the effect of the smithing arts, allowing this weapon to function as a throwing dagger for all attacks. Every single attack.
That's pretty nuts.
It's okay.
In theory.
This is another one that I don't really love too much.
Yeah, I'm not using this.
Yeah. It's a paired weapon. Two-handed. It allows you to dual wield two of the daggers at once. And due to its fast nature, good scaling on all infusions, and commendable range, wielding this in the offhand can be a great way to safely prevent an enemy's stance from recovering while they're performing long combos and without any cost, unlike usual throwing daggers. So yeah, that's a good thing. You don't want their stance to reset, and just throw a few daggers to keep it moving.
And you can use it in the offhand with a different weapon in your main hand.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, just keep it in your your backup. Even just like tap the left D-pad and get it on quick. Throw a few.
I could use this in like a Gambit character build.
Yeah, which I don't think you would do. Do you like Gambit?
Yeah, I always thought he was cool, but I don't think he's really gotten the love he deserves since the 90s. Like 90s X-Men cartoon, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new Deadpool yet.
Me either. I did watch the Taylor Kish Gambit movie, and I was like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm not really in it. Not really with it. That's my new favorite thing, though, is trying to come up with different builds based off characters.
And I also think we don't talk enough about Elden Bling. I've been on that subreddit a lot, where it's just, how can I make my guy look extra cool?
Oh, I didn't even know that existed.
Check out that subreddit, Elden Bling. It's pretty fun. Essentially, in these forges, that's all you're going to find is living magma and golem smiths. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Not going to do it. Only because now I said it, I'm not going to. And essentially, you're just trying to get to the altar of these forges where it's the heart of the forge. And you'll always find an ancient dragon smithing stone. And in here, you also find the anvil hammer, which colossal weapons are a very cool weapon type.
That I never use.
You should give them a try.
I know. I always mean to, and then I find a weapon like... For the first time, it was Moonveil, and then it was the Blasphemous Blade or Bloodhound's Fang. I always find something that I work really well with, and I don't like deviating. Now it's Milady. I do like that sword a lot.
Yeah, the anvil hammer is just a mean-looking hammer. Instead of taking the hammer to the anvil, it's like taking the anvil and just using it as a hammer, which is kind of hardcore.
That is pretty awesome.
It's one of the treasures of the Ruined Forges, a tremendous hammer that incorporates as its head the red-hot anvil of the forge. It is said that the anvil shape is inspired by that of an altar. Oh, man. Oh, I just feel great today. Sorry. And that long ago, it was used as such in rite and ritual. Now, the unique skill, it has smithing art spears where you slam it into the ground and spears just shoot up out of the ground in front of you. Pretty cool. Scales with strength and faith. It's a cool weapon. I did mess around with it today, and I do like colossal weapons. I just usually like to move a little faster.
Yeah. I think if you could get the timing down for them, that's my thing. They're just too slow. They need to be fast. And even the Blasphemous Blade is a little slow for me sometimes.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's just your preferred weapon always.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taker's Flame is just awesome. Plus, every time I do it, I think of The Undertaker. I really should think of Kane.
Yeah.
But I think of The Undertaker.
I just think about The Undertaker in general all the time.
Did you see SmackDown's coming to Milwaukee? I am tempted.
That is tempting.
Yeah.
Before we head into Castle Ensis, though, we're going to go to the left and take care of some business. We're going to head towards the Fog Rift Catacombs. We're greeted by our first hopping imp, which I was like, great. Fucking awesome.
Yep. It's like he's on a pogo stick sword.
Which seems like an impractical way to move around.
You're gonna probably break off the tip of that sword and dull the fuck out of it. It's not a good way of transportation.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt your weapon. And as someone who is a certain weight and age, I know I don't like pogo sticks
No.
or imps. So this is a
Double whammy.
yeah.
I'm well past the age of a pogo stick.
No, thank you. Now the first imp can drop the Lizard Greatsword. Scales with strength and dexterity. This greatsword is pretty cool. A strong attack performs a regular thrust forward. In addition to firing the forked tongue is a projectile out of it.
I want this. I don't have this.
It's cool. Yeah, the imps actually drop some pretty cool weapons in the DLC. The projectile deals pierce damage, and 100% the status buildup is applied to the weapon. So both thrust and projectile can hit an enemy for higher damage and 200% status buildup.
These little fuckers will kill you too.
Always.
Yep. Remember when I said, I hadn't died to this point? This is when I started dying a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not just we'll get to the other imp, the new imp that I don't like.
I like him.
I don't like either of the new ones.
And then they're like, all right, but what about 1,000 times bigger?
Yeah.
Make it bigger. It's too big. Double it.
Double it.
It's impractical. Triple it. I don't care.
You're not kidding either.
I'll do it. The Fog Rift Catacombs, also, this is a big catacombs, actually. You can find the Ancient Dragon Knights Cookbook 1. This has the Red Lightning Pot, which I'm pretty sure you might like. It's a record of crafting techniques of the Ancient Dragon Knight who followed Godwin's Golden Knights into the Realm of Shadow. So Godwin's Golden Knights did come here as well. And we'll find out in a little bit that Godwin's desiccated, undying corpse is down here as well, much like at the bottom of Stormvale and at the roots of the tree. And yeah, this dude just can't die anywhere. He's just going everywhere to not die.
Yeah. I mean, good for him.
Good for him. And yeah, the Red Lightning Pot, the ancient dragons who betrayed their lord to side with a tyrant, were known for wielding branching red lightning. This is a little tease for what's coming later on with Bale.
Yeah. Red Lightning also just super dope. I like the concept of it.
Yeah.
I like that it's incorporated with dragons. This is very heavy metal.
Pretty much any different variation of lightning, I'm going to be like, that's fucking cool.
I think Gold Lightning is my least favorite.
It's just too boring.
Yeah.
But it's still cool.
Yeah, it's still cool.
Yeah. I've never seen a lightning bolt in real life and been like, well, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Every time I get a boner.
Every time I'm like, ooh, lightning.
Whoa. Yes, and we did mention the big mouth imp. They're here. Except this one is the little guy. It's a little big mouth. It's a little shit talker.
Yeah, and he's going to cook up all this acid reflex from his stone guts and just cannonball it out of his face at you.
Where's he getting all these fireballs that he's shooting at us? There's not a lot of room inside of him.
No, he must have like some sort of infernal engine.
He is just a mouth with two little legs. I like it too. It looks like their arms are like holding up their giant mouth.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like the design a lot, and I was pretty charmed by it when I saw it.
Yeah, the only problem is their fire rate is much faster than it should be.
It's really satisfying when you learn it, and you can just keep doing dodges. Also, if you want to be, saucy, just do invisible form or veiled form. I forget the spell. And then they look, you can see they're like, did someone make a noise? And they're looking around, but they're just moving their mouth back and forth. They don't know where to find you. You can sneak past a lot of them. We'll find some Inquisitors here. We'll talk about them later, but I'm guessing they're here to inquisit on why there's a giant undead fish dude in the basement.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I would be, if I found that in my basement, I'm like, I need to call someone. Is there a guy?
Yeah, I have a giant fish dude. What's your name? Gary? I have a giant fish dude named Gary down here.
Yeah. He's got a truck. Undead fish dudes, look out. That's the slogan. We also see a putrescence sorcerer. Now, I put down, we'll talk about that later. Also, I don't believe that name is written anywhere. So, these sorcerers have like a dead baby attached to them. And there's not a lot of lore. We don't know what their name specifically is. This is like something someone extracted from data. The strategy guide comes out in, I think, a month or two. Maybe we'll know more then. But we'll get a Spirit Ash. The Black Knight Commander Andreas. Andreas is the Knight Commander of the Black Knights. Great. I'm already excited about this.
Yes.
The Black Knights were the primary force of Messmer's army. The first leader was Andreas, a man endowed. Nice.
Swinging past his knees.
That dude's got it, dude. Talk about the anvil hammer. Endowed with great strength and command over the powers of the Crucible, in whose spirit in these ashes dwells. Though he remained a devout follower of Messmer after his flight from the Erd Tree, he would rebel after learning of his liege's serpentine nature.
He's afraid of snakes.
I love you, boss. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. He's like Bam Margera. He's like, yeah, no, I'll do this dumb stunt, or I'll put my body in harm's way, but the moment a snake's around.
That or tasers.
I think he's probably pretty good with tasers now.
He's bad with staying sober and healthy, though.
Oh, God, yeah. It pops up on my Instagram reel way too often.
Well, Instagram knows you want it.
Well, that's because I follow Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. Those good dudes.
Good dudes.
Yeah. Andreas was the commander, the first leader of the Black Knights. And he was like loyal to Messmer, and then as soon as he found out Messmer had a couple of snakes growing on him, reasonably so, he says, I think I'm good. 2 weeks notice, I'm going to go to catacombs and just hang out.
And you know what? As long as he worked that 2 weeks and he left in good standing, I don't think we can really blame him.
No, we support you. His righteous stand was rewarded with imprisonment in the underground tomb. Okay, so he didn't get rewarded.
No, he didn't. They took his gold star off the board.
We're going to kill you and put your ashes in a box and bury you. He has access to the aspect of the crucible tongue, which is just spawning a giant fucking lickitung tongue and slooping around, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Locked up in the catacomb, though, I don't want to know what he uses the tongue for.
I don't think there's a good use at all for the tongue.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
Nothing that's going to make you feel okay.
There's no need for a tongue that big. I can't imagine. This is the same tongue attack as Black Knight Guru, which we might talk about later. And yeah, does a lot of licking. You can find an incantation here, the Electro Charge, that's in the room with the dropping spikes. You drop down a hole on the left. There's a lot of spikes in this catacombs.
Oh, is this the one where you like...
There's a dude
the
shooting
second
at
hole?
you,
Yeah, and he's up on the platform.
and you accidentally fall down the hole.
Dude, so pissed off, man. I love the level design of some of these catacombs. I do get catacomb fatigue, though, because at a certain point, the level design on these catacombs is very well done, and they're very confusing to navigate until you go through different areas a couple times and you start realizing where they link up.
Yeah.
And I thought I was making good progress, and the spikes come down from the roof, and they put one little divot in the wall with an enemy that you can fight and hide.
Yeah.
Spikes come down. I'm like, all right, second divot, here I come. There's no floor. You just run and fall.
To me, that's great. I understand your sentiment, though, about catacomb fatigue. I feel it as well. I do like the designs of the catacombs in the DLC more, but eventually I don't need more imps, and I don't need more holes in the floor.
And I don't need guys that'll just fucking shoot a million fucking projectiles that just figure eight back and forth until they kill me.
It's funny.
But I agree with you. I do like the level design of the catacombs in the DLC more than the main game.
The Electro charge. You call down lightning to charge the caster's body. While charged, electric shocks will strike the area several times. Charging will increase your potency. And the origin of incantations that bolster the body with lightning are now a lost art in the lands between. We find a pretty unique weapon here. The stone sheathed sword. This sword is not good in its current state. It's a sword that none can pull from its scabbard of cracked stone. So essentially the sword is just trapped in there. So you have to use the whole scabbard of hard stone. And relic of a lost civilization, which, as someone who reads lore, that's a sentence that makes me upset.
Yeah, because that means there's more.
Great. Now what do I have to do? How many Reddit posts do I have to read? And there's not a lot of information. We'll talk about it more when we get to the Sword of Light and the Sword of Dark, because this sword can be changed a couple times. It's on top of falling platforms, and it leads to a room. Another Ash of War here. You get Blink Bolt. This is the sniper from the end of the long one with spikes. Now, when the spikes come down, there's a hole in the spike platform you have to jump in.
What?
I know, right? It's pretty wild. This skill is used by the Golden Knights who serve Godwin. From a low stance, the body is transformed into a bolt of lightning, and you charge straight forward at fulgurous speed. It's pretty cool.
My dual axes that I get, I have Blink Bolt on them.
Sick.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun.
The Death Knight twin axes, right?
Yes.
I like that. Those are fun axes. We get them in a little bit later here.
Yeah, I run them with the Blasphemous, or with Milady.
Milady.
Because I can carry it all. And I'm not fat rolling. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm using two different types of slashing damage, but sometimes it's nice to just have the really, I mean, my fucking Ash of War it's just so nice on them.
Yeah. Anytime you can just like transport forward, do a little lightning damage, it's good.
Yeah. You followed it up with a bigger attack.
Whoa, beautiful. Now, the Death Knight is the boss of this place. These knights were once Godwin's personal guard, quested to find their transfigured master's cadaver surrogate for the coming age of the Duskborn. We talked a lot about that in previous episodes. The decayed golden wheel on their helms represent their unbroken loyalty to Godwin, he who became Prince of Death. Wield twin axes, capable of they have a cape of ghost flames. Fuck, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to get patched. I don't know where you take it if you get a hole in your cape of ghost flame, but
can you get a hole in a cape of ghost flame? Doesn't it just make more ghost flame?
I'm never going to try.
Yeah.
I would not do well in the lands between, I don't think.
No.
At
least if you die, you come back.
Well, if we're tarnished.
You'd be a tarnished.
I would be the person that Gideon hates. Like, these people aren't even trying to get the Great Runes. Can I just hang out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would offer my services as the janitor of the round table hold.
What if you had to clean the fingers?
I mean,
they should shave the fingers. There's some like weird hair. They should just take a little shaver too.
Yeah, over time, I think I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. I wouldn't do well. But yes, you get the Death Knight's twin axes, which we just talked about. It's they crackle with lightning. The power of the capital's ancient dragon cult scales with strength, dexterity, and faith. And the unique skill for the twin axe is it's similar to Blink Bolt, but it actually has a follow-up lightning charge spinning slash.
The timing on it is weird.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to get used to it, but once you get the timing down, and you have to not only get the timing down, you have to get the distance of your Blink Bolt. Because it's not like it's going to just magnet you to the next enemy.
Yeah.
There is a range on it. And once you find the range and you hit that sweet spot where teleport in, lightning damage, followed up with a main attack, you can just wreck shit.
Wreck it.
Yeah.
I like the pacing of the two axes too. Like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's
sick.
Yeah, and sometimes if you dual wield it, you get two. But if you just switch to one hand, you can use one with a shield.
I like that.
So it is a really versatile weapon. I would like to get I want to get like a weapon shield in my left hand.
Yeah.
So that I can still kind of do damage if I have the shield out. Yep. Plus it's just I want to do damage with the shield. I don't need to. I have another axe I could just pick up.
No.
I want the shield.
Good stuff. You get the Crimson Amber Medallion +3 from here, which this is the one that I use most of the game. Raises the max HP plus 10%. By 10%, yeah. Pretty useful.
Yeah.
We are actually now going to move forward to Castle Ensis, Legacy Dungeon here. Initial thoughts. What did you think of Castle Ensis?
I thought that it was going to be a lot smaller than what it was because...
Been there, man.
I mean, the scale of scope in these games is just like... again, I'll get fatigued with it, like running around some of these legacy dungeons. Like I think of running around Volcano Manor for the first time.
That's a big one.
And like
that's a crazy legacy dungeon.
Yeah, but when you first walk in, it's just the hallway and a couple rooms and a crazy guy upstairs with a giant spinny grinder.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is just a pit stop.
You said I'm welcome here. Some dude just tried to kill me upstairs.
You know, I thought that was Rykard the first time.
Boy, were you wrong.
Yeah, they were like, go challenge the master. And I went upstairs and there's a guy with a big weapon. I was like, come on, bro.
And that was the janitor.
Yeah, that was the janitor.
Yep.
Out of my way, I got to clean the fingers.
You spilt the juice. You die now. Yeah. It's cool that you're always moving upwards. There's, it's mostly like a vertical castle that gets you to somewhere else. I like A to B, and it's not like a looping or you get to the top and you have to come back down. It's cool that this castle essentially is just put here to guard the Shadow Keep. This is to protect the Shadow Tree, to protect Mesmer. And it's just a giant fortress. And it's cool that this is the only area in the DLC that's coded around Rey Lucaria. This is very much kind of in the middle of the map too. Similar to Rey Lucaria. I mentioned before how I think that there is kind of, to quote George Lucas, it's kind of like poetry, it rhymes. And I like it. I like the aesthetic of the sorcerers. I like the aesthetic of Troll Knights. And yeah, I think this is a pretty fun dungeon. I did die quite a bit my first time going through it. At the entrance, you'll find a Troll Knight and a Lazuli Sorcerer. And under the bridge there, you'll get a Spelldrake Talisman +3. Reduces magic damage by 22%. Not a bad thing to have here. And we'll also very quickly find Milady.
Yeah, Milady it is the first DLC weapon that I stuck with and really, really went in on. I already had the twin axes.
Yeah.
But I didn't really use them all that much.
Yeah.
But Milady's good. I infused it with fire before I realized that fire is 98% of what I'm going to be fighting from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I switched it up to frost.
Okay.
But I dig it. It's got some really good sweeping attacks.
It's a very skilled weapon.
Yeah.
I love the sideways, like the area that the normal attacks do, because it actually covers a pretty broad area in front of you.
Yeah, because the first main attack is like a thrust straight at the enemy. It's followed up by like some sweeping. But if you riposte an enemy with your shield and block them and then hit them with that heavy attack right away, it's like a behind the back fucking overhead slash that does an incredible amount of damage.
Sick. It's I've watched some videos of people using it, and it is a very graceful weapon when you know what you're doing. It starts off with Impaling Thrust, but there are unique Ashes of War for, I think it's just the light greatswords, or it might, at least it's capable of use on Milady, and it's where you just do a stance, and you just like hold your sword, and then when somebody approaches you, that's when you can do the attack. You can even hold the stance and walk forward, which looks really badass. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to mess with that guy. Yeah, Milady is our first light greatsword we get, and they are as long as great swords, but far lighter, allowing the wielder to have quicker attacks at the cost of damage. It's nicknamed after ladies of noble status for its refined appearance.
It is the high life of great swords.
It's the champagne of great swords.
Yes, because High Life was made for housewives in the early 1900s that didn't drink beer, and that's why they called it the champagne of beer, and that's why it's so highly carbonated, because they were like, we need to get these women drunk.
Thank you, because it has worked on me.
Yes, and it's now my favorite. And as soon as I read this about Milady, I'm like, oh, like High Life.
My High Life.
My High Life.
Yeah. With cultivated form, one can wield this weapon as swiftly as one might a straight sword. Skills with strength and dexterity.
I love that my character used the blasphemous blade, which is essentially just a giant weapon that you slam into the ground like a meathead.
Yep.
And it produces a giant column of fire.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so you're using that, you're like the bassist or the drummer in a band.
Yeah.
And then you pick up Milady, and then you're like fucking John Mayer on the lead guitar. You're just like, now you're noodling, and you're like...
Noodling and doodling.
Yeah, you go from like just most smash to like, check out these dance moves.
Yeah. The anvil hammer would be the bass drum hammer. It's just someone using a bass drum to hit a kick pedal. Like they actually hit the kick pedal with the bass drum.
It would be like taking the bass drum and smashing it into the pedal.
I love that. I would. Yeah. Milady, we're big fans of. Now, you'll find a site of grace. You'll go up a little ways, and nearby you'll find the Loyal Knights Cookbook for Royal Magic Grease and Drawstring Royal Magic Grease. Get that. Michaela's Cross will be here. I abandon here the flesh of my body. I'm starting to worry about Michaela. He is cutting everything. He's losing a lot.
Yeah, he's losing parts.
Eventually, he won't have anything left, and that is the problem. But there is also a message from Leda. It says, kind Michaela seeks the tower sealed by shadow and the gate of divinity found there. If we are to reach him, we must burn the tree that seals the path, and for that we require a flame. And
I was like, I got Taker's flame right here.
I can take care of this. Well, to me, I'm like, in Good Burger was like, I know some of these words.
Yeah.
And then I balled it up and threw it away. I'm like, I'll probably figure that out later. Yeah, this is, spoiling the end game. It's teasing the end game dungeon, where we're going and how we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And around here, you can drop down, ascend near the waterfall, and you'll open your gate. A little bit further on, we run into a invasion from Moon Rithel Carian Knight. Cool name.
Yeah.
Big asshole. I had issues with Moon Rithel. Did you? Did you even beat them?
A little trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm still, at this point in the game, very high on Taker's Flame and the Blasphemous Blade.
You're just freebasing Taker's Flame.
Dude, my Blasphemous Blade build, I might have to go back to it just to keep progressing.
Don't use it as a crutch.
It's not a crutch when it's the answer.
You're right. It's just broaden your horizons.
Yeah, well, the problem is my Mimic tier is all the way leveled up. My Blasphemous Blade is all the way leveled up, and my entire build revolves around it. And when you get my Mimic tier and me in the same room with two Blasphemous Blades...
That is a good thing.
It's like, dude...
Well, it's the same thing how I felt with the Great Katana. Once we were on opposite schedules, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
They had no chance. Rellana just melted to the Great Katana and my Mimic tier. Yeah. Moon Rithel was the Twin Moon Knights Chamberlain. So Rellana's Chamberlain, like an officer who manages the household for a matriarch or a noble, also the treasurer sometimes. Moon Rithel, she was also a friend of the trolls who served the royal family and proudly wielded their weapons as she fought arm in arm with her gargantuan comrades. I would be friends with trolls if I was there. I have nothing against them.
No, I did think they were real for a short period of time when I watched the mockumentary Troll Hunter in college.
You didn't actually think they were real?
I might have for a minute.
No. There's not enough weed to make you believe that.
Yeah, Florida.
Oh, yeah, good education. If you take down Moon Rithel, you get the Moon Rithel's Night Sword. It's a colossal sword, great sword, embedded with a blue glintstone. Scales with strength, dexterity, and faith, and the unique skill of Tremendous Phalanx, which is the skill of the enchanted Troll Knights, creates a defensive arc of enormous magic glint blades overhead, which automatically attack nearby foes. You know the phalanxes. These are just giant troll swords. Yeah, Moonrithel is pretty cool. I'm happy. In this, it's much like when you're in Rellana and you get invaded right before you fight Rellana. Similar here with
Yeah,
Rellana.
by that dude outside the door. That dude gave me trouble.
Yeah, Moongrum.
Moongrum, yeah.
All these moons. There is a chapel straight ahead with a spirit NPC. Oh, America, I beg, embrace your child and give us a sign. How long must this holy war stretch on? This is alluding to the fact that America sent Mesmer and all of them on this war that she knew like this will not look good. The media is going to say bad things. And once you're there, I'm going to abandon you and erase you from history and pretend it's never happened. And a lot of people got upset at that. That's why America's statues are all defaced in the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks, you know? They're trapped, and they can't get back, and they're like, please, just embrace Mesmer. He's a good boy.
Is he, though?
From a certain point of view.
He is an impaler.
They were shoving people into jars and whipping them with teeth.
So there's two sides to every story is what you're saying.
Well, there are the rarely... it's rare that, it's a justifiable war. And the problem is, as soon as you go to war, the horrors are unleashed and men become beast.
Well, I did figure out the overarching storyline for the entire thing, and it probably went over your head, so I'll educate you real quick.
Okay.
America found oil in...
There's oil in them there lands.
There was oil in the Shadowlands, and that's why she sent Mesmer.
And then she was on a warship, and she's like, we did it. We won the war.
She had a giant banner.
We did it. Great success. America. Wow. America the Beautiful.
Yeah, I had to really reach in my bag for that one.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
It's a metaphor. Yeah, you'll also get Rellana's cameo here. Talisman featuring a gallant portrait of Rellana, the Twin Moon Knight. I imagine she's pretty cool. I mean, I'd date her.
I mean, I don't know if my character has ever dated anybody. He might be down bad.
Well, you're using a sword called Milady. I don't think so.
No, he definitely has a neck beard. When he doesn't have his cool lightning helmet on, he's wearing a fedora.
Big neck beard.
Big neck beard.
I wish there was a fedora in game. No. The Rellana's cameo enhances attacks executed after maintaining the same stance for a certain length of time. So this is paired with Milady.
I could use this. I have it.
It's also just like a picture of who this person loves. It's just a picture of Rellana, and he's just holding his sword out. He's like, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Does anybody use lockets anymore?
No, I imagine an uncommon practice. I imagine there are people that use lockets.
Yeah, I haven't seen a good locket since probably 1935.
The modern day locket is the back run of your phone.
Dude, you are 100% right.
Yeah. So it's either a picture of your loved one or the picture of your most loved one. Oh, you actually have millennia.
I have millennia.
I thought you were gonna have a picture of your dog.
No, I never put pictures as mine. I always put art.
That's cool. Yeah.
Although Frank deserves it.
My dad has had the same picture on his of my mom and niece for like 12 years. And my goal is to keep the same picture as my background for the rest of my life, just to like embrace the dad. So we'll see how long it can last. But yes, the enhances attacks executed after maintaining a stance. Holding the weapon skill provides a damage increase of 15% on any weapon that holds this weapon in a stance. If held for about 1.5 seconds, you'll see the buff on your person glow red. It's cool. Eventually, though, we're going to go around these rooftops. You can jump down and get a Glint Blade Trio Sorcery, which, similar to the Sword Failing Sorcery, is kind of the prototypical form of that. And you'll see a different subsequent refinement in the realm of Shadow. Since patch 1.13, that is slower and stronger than the base Glint Blade, however. There's a Wolf Crest Shield, which is a finely made blue shield featuring an engraving of a wolf under the moon. Excels at fending off sorceries. Scales with strength. The wolf is the beast of the Karian Royal Covenant, a symbol of the moon's pride that none can forget, no matter what remote lands they may arrive in. I like all that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
If I get a good shield, I'm going to use it for at least a minute.
Shields are good.
Yeah.
And they look cool.
See, that's my crutch. Is not Blasphemous Blade. My crutch is that I have to have a shield. But my poise is so good, I don't really get staggered all that often.
Shields just look good.
Yeah, plus, like, if you're not fat rolling and you have a shield, you still have the ability to dodge through the iframes. But then every now and again, if you just want to hunker down and put that shield up, like, it gives you,
They're pretty powerful.
It doubles your ability to have defense.
Yeah.
And I'm
Stance,
never,
boys.
yeah, and I never parry anything, so I'm either eating that shot or I'm dodging it.
Yeah, I wish I was someone who could parry.
It doesn't exist. What episode is this? I've been saying it for 45 episodes. It does not exist.
For Patreon, this is like episode 46. For main feed, I think it's like 35, 36.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
The imbued sword key is that you'll find it here. The only one that you'll find in the DLC, because there's only one single belfry. And around the corner, we'll also find the wing stance. Calmly assume a right-sided stance. We mentioned this. And then it rapidly does a 3/ combination when you do a normal attack. And strong attacks will trigger a leaping thrust. Only usable on Milady.
I don't have this.
You should get it.
I missed it.
It's better than Impaling Thrust. And yeah, it's also buffed by Rellana's cameo. Speaking of Rellana, she's upstairs. We're going to have to kill her. She's blocking the exit. Real dick move.
Yeah.
Now, you can summon Needle Knight Letta if you want. I don't like to be helped by assholes.
No, and I got the best thing in the world, and that's 2 of me.
Yeah. You know what's better than you? Me. Again.
Again. Copy, paste, goodbye.
I wish you could use multiple Spirit Ashes.
Oh, yeah, like in Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can like pluck one of your hairs and you go
Does it copy yourself?
5 times.
Whoa.
Yeah. But they're not very strong.
Okay. But that's okay. Diversion.
Yeah, because they will draw aggro.
I like that.
It's fun.
So Rellana is the younger sister to Rennala, and if you're having confusion with the naming,
I am.
we are. All of us. Thanks, George. George R. Martin, by the way, big dick energy recently.
I didn't read it.
He did a blog post.
I don't want to know.
He even teased it. He's like, we're going to talk about my problems with House of the Dragon Season 2. And then he did a post, and he went scorched earth on those motherfuckers.
Is it full of spoilers?
There's one significant spoiler, not if you read the books, but he just throws the most shade I've ever seen someone throw. And it's awkward for everyone in the show. He's like, I honestly don't know if they have a plan. I think that everything they did cheapened the story and made the characters less interesting.
I mean, he's not wrong. I felt like Daemon was super not interesting this season. I also did see something on Instagram today that had like Daemon and Aemond.
Yeah.
And 2 White Walkers from the original show that looked just like him. And it said, I don't have any proof, but neither do you. And I was like, that'd be cool.
And book readers don't have any proof. But George, you never, if someone's making a show based on your property, he's in the rare spot where he can talk shit and they can't do anything about it.
Because it's his.
It's still his. They have the rights to the show, so they can keep doing what they want with it. But they can't stop him from saying, I think these are all horrible decisions. He said, this thing is going to happen. And it makes sense in the books because of this. And he says, I honestly don't even think they have any idea why it's going to happen. I think they're just making it up.
Damn.
He went scorched earth. It's very cool. But yes, his naming conventions can be confusing. Rellana, shit, I just did it. Rellana was a Karian princess as well. In her childhood, she met the Twin Moons with Rennala. She was instructed by Count Emir in the sorcerer's arts, who I almost would have been Count Emir instead of Ansbach. I like Emir a lot. But yes, Rellana was instructed by Count Emir, renounced her lineage to chase after Mesmer. Fuck you, Mom and Dad. Mesmer has a motorcycle. I don't care.
I'm going to Burning Man.
I like his tattoos.
No, he doesn't have a job. You don't need a job.
He has his mom got him a house. It's fine.
We're going to live in a van.
He's got a snake.
He's got 4,800 Twitch streamer followers.
Yeah.
And they're going to watch us live in a van in Arizona.
If my daughter wanted to go date a guy, not only a ginger, but has snakes, no thank you.
No.
So she says, I renounce my lineage. I'm no longer a Karian princess. I'd rather get that Mesmer D. She left Rellana on good terms because her home features a gift of Rellana's lustrous black hair. So the sisters were on good terms. She became known as the Sword of Mesmer, despite knowing that even the moon could not grant Mesmer any succor.
That's not a real word.
Succor is a word. It's relief. So even the moon can't calm Mesmer's fiery rage. He just gets upset and rides his motorcycle around, and he just blares the music. You know those motorcycles that have way too loud of music?
Oh, yeah.
That's Mesmer.
Yeah, it's like, I just watched that South Park episode about a word I can't say.
And Rellana could do so much better.
She could.
But she's just in love with this bad boy.
Yeah.
With mommy issues.
Well, her and her sister both fell for a ginger that didn't treat him right.
Mesmer would have a tattoo that says mommy issues.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have it say damaged on his forehead.
He would be like out of the big four, like he's like a super big Megadeth. No, would he be Megadeth or Slayer? Slayer's too hardcore for him.
I also think it's too good. It's just too.
They're all good
for
bands.
Him.
Yeah, no, he'd be like, fuck the big four. You ever heard of Pierce the Veil?
Like MCR, maybe.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, so she became known as the Sword of Mesmer, which, gotta say, that's a pretty badass girlfriend. If she becomes like the sword of Tyler, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to propose right away.
You gotta earn that title. You
Yeah,
don't just get called the sword.
I didn't even know that was a title I could give girlfriends. I'm going to do that in real life. I'll put it on my Tinder profile.
As long as they earn it.
Yeah, you just got to be super cool, and you got to be okay with me quitting my job and being a Twitch streamer.
My lovely wife is like the driver of Bradley because he's playing Balatro.
Are you a passenger princess?
As often as I can. I did a lot of Balatro yesterday. The fight with Rellana, very cool. One of my favorite fights in the game. She wields twin blade like great swords, one with glintstone magic and one with Mesmer's flame.
Yep, I like that.
It's good and evil, and they're always fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's a cool fight. I like fighting enemies that have a similar size to Tarnished.
Yeah.
They're not like. It's good for both ways, but when I like fighting something that's similar in size because it becomes a little bit more of like a knockout back and forth instead of dodging giant dragon sweeping attacks.
Yep. I do prefer those fights too because it's easier to track your enemies. I learn their move pattern a lot faster.
Yeah, you can pick up what they're showing, their telegraphs.
Yeah. She did not stand a chance to the blasphemous blade.
I think the 4 times I've beaten her, I think I've died once.
The one time I've beaten her, I died no times.
Yeah. I think it comes down a little bit to build because I don't know. I think she's skilled and maybe I was just lucky, but Mimic Tier does kind of provide a lot of help.
When you get hit with like 5 Taker's Flames over the course of about 7 seconds, like you're going to have a bad time. I can't blame her.
Yeah, she'd be screaming like, the enemy design in this game is horrible. This guy just keeps spamming one attack.
Yeah.
I can't even hit him. And he has 12 healing potions. This guy sucks.
Yeah. Every time I get him close, he just runs away.
And he summons 2 of them. It's him and himself. It's not fair. The second phase of the fight begins when her health drops below 50%. This is characterized by the change in their great swords by infusing the elements. So one is like on fire and the other one looks just like glowing with magic.
I was a little scared when that happened.
It's not phase 2 is always scary.
I know, but I was doing so good for the first phase, I thought I was really going to lose it in the second phase.
Yeah.
Plus, this fight was one of the only things that was spoiled for me moving into it, so I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. I love the giant glintstone blades that she gets. The one, she just does one forward, and that one's not hard to dodge, but the one that's just a giant sweeping, getting the timing right and just dodging through it always feels really cool.
Yeah.
Always is a good time. Needless to say, she goes down without too much trouble. The remembrance of her, you get either the twin blades or the twin moons. The twin blades are light great swords, scales with strength, dexterity, intelligence, and faith, because it's got, religious flames and intelligent magic. When dual wielding, you get fire damage, physical damage, and magic damage. Pretty sick.
This would be a weapon that I would want to take into like New Game Plus and just use all the way through, because it would, the base game, you would melt shit with this.
Oh yeah, and it's a little less useful in the DLC because there's so many fire enemies, but at least it has a couple other options. The unique skill is the Moon and Fire stance. Assuming the ready stance, your swords are imbued with the magic. Follow up with a normal attack to cast glintstone light waves, or a strong attack to perform a spinning attack that bathes the area with flames. It's kind of similar to the Sword of Night and Flame in that way, in that you either have like the big fire sweep or like the Comet Azure. Light waves can have up to 2 follow-up casts with additional inputs. Inputting light attacks shoots the magic light waves. I'll mention that. And the heavy attack is a flaming spinning tornado, which I believe is a Mega Man move, which is good.
Yeah, there's it was an Instagram reel I saw of like 2 friends playing, and he was like, check this sword out. Check out what I got. And he's like, wow, that's really cool. Like, that's crazy. And he's like just doing the basic attack. And then he does the magic one. The dude's like, that's fucking crazy. And he's like, hold on. And then he does the fire one, and the dude loses his mind.
It's everything. It's got it all. It's not fair. Yeah, the sword used depends on the hand it is wielded in. So if you only want to use one of the swords at a time, put it in the left hand. And then you only have this, like the fire or the magic, and then the other hand is the other. It's when you're dual wielding that you get both.
Yeah, and you're going to want both.
So that's cool. And this also means that it cannot be dual wielded to use a pair of the intelligence swords. The left hand will always be fire, and the right hand will always be magic. So you couldn't do like another run through the game, get 2 of this, like wield 2 of the magic fire swords or whatever. Yeah. And the other option is Rellana's twin moons. You had to pay extra to see them. Great. Wow. Incarnate overlapping twin moons which strike the ground one after the other, violently shaking the earth with moonlight. Requires 72 intelligence, so pretty big.
Only for geniuses.
You got to be super smart.
Yeah, you got to have a gift
to appreciate them moons.
Yeah.
Short range, fairly powerful. It's a good like opening gambit. It's pretty cool. We do get one other weapon here in Castle Ensis, and that is the Carian Sorcery Sword. It's behind the castle from the moon gazing grounds. It is a thrusting sword that scales with dexterity, intelligence, and strength. Formerly used by the Carian knights of old, before the full refinement of their sorcerous combat techniques. This armament functions as a catalyst for glintstone sorcery when executing strong attacks. The cool thing about this is it's also a spell catalyst. You can use it as a staff.
Oh, really?
So it's a sword, but its skill, it's like L2, its unique skill is whatever sorcery you have equipped.
I would like that.
It's really cool.
That would have been really good for my first character.
It's just wild. You can just, put whatever buff. You can have it just be used to cast invisibility as like a little supporting thing. Whatever you want. Very cool. Heavy attacks will do the sorceries. And it had 0 sorcery scaling before the patch. It was broken, so it sucked. But since patch 1.12.3, S rank intelligence scaling at plus 22 and up, seems like magic damage might be all it is working with. Very cool. This kind of blew my mind that there was a sword that was also a staff.
Yeah. They definitely upped the game with the weapons and the DLC.
Yeah. Very cool. And when we get up here to the top of, or outside that back door, it's funny that it literally, through her like main office, it's just outside. There's not like another hallway or bathroom on the way out.
Yeah.
In fact, I've never seen a bathroom in any of these buildings, which is worrying.
I'm trying to think.
You'll see piles of bear shit, but I don't remember a single toilet or even anything that looks like a toilet.
And they have to be there because we were in the sewers in Lanedale.
If you can live forever, do you stop eating? You could. I think it would suck.
You might just do it for fun.
But then if you're eating, you got to take a shit.
You know,
This ain't Hogwarts where you crap your pants and they just magic that shit away.
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling is a very smart author.
Yeah, very. Yeah. I'm glad she took the time to think of that.
They shit their pants. What?
JK,
Put the phone down.
the Chamber of Secrets is in the women's room.
Ew.
You put a bathroom in the story.
Yeah.
But it'd be cooler if they shit their pants.
But they pooped in their pants a lot, too. Great. Great. Yeah. It is funny that you immediately emerge at the Shadow Altus on the other side and continue on our journey. That's going to be the end of this episode today. Do you have any other thoughts you want to share? Freya, how are you feeling so far about your time in...
It has not been, up to this point, as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I was the From Software games, I'm always nervous about the difficulty because I don't want to run into a brick wall and just be like, man, fuck this.
No.
Up to this point, I've had little to no trouble with the game. I've had a good time exploring. It's nice to explore a new area of Elden Ring and not have a guide or have like videos that I've watched or talked about it already on the podcast.
Yeah.
And had to go back and look at things. So I don't know, I'm pretty refreshed. I'm really trying to hone in on the lore and not rely on these podcasts to understand what the story is.
Yeah.
But from here, I made a beeline to an area I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah. The point of no return isn't as bad as people think, but it is a thing.
Yep, and unfortunately, I've locked myself out of some stuff.
Not a ton. And actually, I don't think you lock yourself out of almost anything by the first spot. There's quickly another point, though, that NPC quests start getting locked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Special thanks to our executive producers, Rykard Christianic, Malekith the Black Blade, Blaggard Big Brian Ward, Jordan Hoslow, Sorceress of Blood, Festering Fingerprint Phil Wright, Iron Fist Phil, Just Phil, Bellbearing Hunter Bryant Ross, Crucible Knight, Kelly Gutowski, Justin Mellismer, The Impaler, and Imagine Ghost Flame Wagon.
That is got to be one of the sickest band names I've ever heard.
Ghost Flame Wagon?
Ghost Flame Wagon. And you put Imagine in front of it, and it's like...
Looks like Imagine Dragons.
I know, that's what I think, but it's cooler.
It's cooler, though.
Yeah.
Ghost Flame Wagon is cool.
It's like Ario's Speedwagon, but better.
Arios Ghost Flame Dragon. Yes, and so thanks for listening. And this episode, if you're listening to it on Patreon, you're getting this today. And if you're listening to it on the main feed, this episode is available probably 3 months ago, a while back. If you want access to all of the episodes that are already available to Patreon, as well as upcoming ones on a 2-week basis instead of a month-long basis, check out patreon.com/hairthedogcast. There's a free trial. You can't beat it. And it's worth your value. I mean, would you buy us a beer? And we'll share the beer. And it can be a high life.
I mean, honestly, almost preferred.
Almost preferred. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. And if you're not, thanks for listening this far. Write a review if you can. That would really help us. If anyone's a listener that hasn't written a review, it takes 2 seconds. It means a lot. Besides that, we'll be back next week to talk about the Sadu Altus, the Shadow Altus, and we'll be continuing our journey in the land of shadow. I have been Sir Ansbach.
And this is Freya saying, go get some Magic Mine, take a nice selfie of yourself, go down to the Kinko's, print off a picture of yourself, buy an old silver locket, plant your face in there, and send it to your mom.
That's beautiful. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.